Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're feeling well. I feel okay. I've had better days, but the news keeps coming in the chip industry, and some news in particular that's making its rounds in the media, I think really deserve some attention and some extra detail, some extra nuance. So I'm here, despite how I feel, to give you some, what I think are some much needed updates. Here goes. The news that I'm referring to, of course, is the announcement that Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing is going to get ready to start building a second fab in Arizona. So the one that they're currently working on, their first fab in Arizona, is slated to start production in 2024. The second fab will begin production in 2026. So here is the actual official press release from TSMC regarding the second fab in Arizona. You can see here, right here, this boosts their total investment into the US, into Arizona, pushes it up to $40 billion by the time this is all said and done here in the next 4 years or so. They're going to create a ton of jobs along the way, both construction workers, but also direct TSMC jobs and other support roles. But here's where I think there's a lot of excitement. This line right here, between the two fabs, TSMC says they will be able to produce at least 600,000 wafers per year when it's running at absolute full capacity. Just over 600,000 wafers per year. So again, remember, wafers are those big silicone discs that you often see someone in a bunny suit, in a lab suit holding. And the estimated end product value for these wafers, so that's after these wafers get chopped up into little smaller chips and eventually go into an end product, like, for example, an Apple iPhone or an NVIDIA GPU for high-end video games, end product value of more than $40 billion. But how much silicone is this exactly? Because it sounds like a lot. It's certainly being touted on the news as a lot of silicone wafer coming to manufacturing here in the United States. But let's talk about this a little bit more, using a little bit of high school geometry. Don't worry, I'm going to help you out with the equation in case you've forgotten. But here's how this works. So each of these silicone wafers that TSMC will be producing in Arizona, they will be produced using the company's advanced 5 nanometer node. That's the one that will be finished in 2024. And then the one in 2026 will use their newest 3 nanometer manufacturing node. So each of these wafers using this process are 300 millimeters in diameter, which works out to just a skosh under 12 inches. What's the surface area of that? Remember the formula for the surface area of a circle: pi times the radius squared. So you multiply pi by the 6-inch radius of a 12-inch wafer squared. So pi times 36, 113 square inches for each one of these 600,000 wafers at the two fabs. So if they're producing 600,000 wafers and each one has 113 square inches of surface area, that works out to just under 68 million square inches of wafer capacity that TSMC thinks it can produce every single year at its 2 new facilities in Arizona. Huge numbers here. Looks like it's going to be a big boost to TSMC's production and especially US chip manufacturing in particular. Or is it? Well, to help you get an idea of just how much 68 million square inches of silicon wafer actually is, I have this report from Industry Association Semi.org. Their estimate for 2022 14.7 billion square inches of silicon wafer will be shipped. That number will probably be roughly flat next year and then return to mid-single digit percentage growth going forward. But let's just call it frozen here at the 2022 level, 14.7 billion square inches. What does that mean for those 2 new fabs in Arizona? Well, here's how it pencils out. 68 million divided by 14 billion is just under 0.5%. So basically these 2 new fabs in Arizona will add less than 0.5% to global silicon wafer capacity. A drop in the massive silicon bucket. Not going to amount to much. Now granted, I will say this. Taiwan Semi is bringing its 5 nanometer and 3 nanometer manufacturing process to the US. These are going to be very high value chips. So I mentioned Apple and NVIDIA. They're supposed to be 2 of the first customers of these 2 fabs in Arizona. Each of these wafers and the eventual end product they get turned into are going to be worth a lot of money. Taiwan Semi said roughly in the ballpark of $40 billion per year. Again, $40 billion per year in end value for TSMC's $40 billion upfront investment. So big numbers, but just a little bit of context to put this in perspective, because there's some pretty wild statements being made out there about how big of a deal this is. And it is a big deal, but in the grand scheme of things, maybe not so much. We'll have to wait and see. Along the way, check out the videos we just posted in the last week on ASML and Applied Materials. Those are 2 longtime partners of Taiwan Semi. While Taiwan Semi shareholders wait for that new production capacity to come online, Taiwan Semi is going to be purchasing a lot of new equipment from Applied and ASML. Those are our 2 horses in this race. Check those videos out. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful in assessing the chip industry and Taiwan Semiconductor, we'd appreciate it if you hit subscribe. Take care, everyone. See you again soon.